Hello. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We are here with Joe Casabona. If you're watching, go ahead and say hi as I find there it is, the chat. Go ahead and say hi and let us know you're here, where you're watching from. Any questions, you can always put any questions you have in the chat at any time, and we'll keep an eye on that and get to those. So really quick, I just want to give a quick intro. I myself am Emily from GoWP, and we are here today with Joe Casabona for the GoWP Expert Series on, Joe is our expert on podcasting and automation. And today, I'm really excited about this. We are going to be watching Joe transition from Airtable to Notion. I know we have a lot of Airtable fans and users, or past users, or aspiring users of Airtable. And the same goes for Notion. And if you are somebody who uses one of these all-in-one super platform database platforms, speaking personally, I know the daunting nature of the idea of transitioning off of one and onto another. So I'm really excited to see Joe's process on this. Really quick, I just want to say a couple of words about GoWP in case anyone watching isn't familiar with us. At GoWP, we say that we create happiness for digital agencies and help them to become more profitable. So whether you are looking to grow your team with a developer, a copywriter, designer, virtual assistant, or if you're interested in outsourcing services like maintenance and content edits, so that you can focus on growth, we've got you covered. We have those services available, fully white labeled, that you can offer to your clients. And if you're looking for coaching and mentorship to take your agency to that next level, check out the Micro Agency Academy. You can enroll now and be well on your way to scaling your agency in the new year. So this course and coaching program, it empowers you to boost your monthly recurring revenue, master the art of strategic hiring so you know who to hire and when and how to hire them. Helps you skyrocket your sales closing rates. So figuring out, how to focus on where you're going to have the most impact when it comes to your pipeline, and boost profits while enjoying more free time. So work less, earn more. That's the goal of the Micro Agency Academy through the curriculum that we have in there that was created by Chris Lemma, and the monthly coaching that is provided by our coach, Pete Perry. So you can take 50% off your first month right now with code GoWP50, and I'll put a link to the Academy in the comments in the chat there, so you can go check that out. We also have the Digital Agency Owners Facebook community, so if you're not a member there, we are live streaming this there right now, and also on YouTube. So if you're not there, we'd love to have you, and I'll put a link to that as well. So to why we're here today. We are here with Joe Casabona, our expert, and we're going to be watching him transition from Airtable to Notion. I can't wait. Joe, tell us a little bit about that, and yourself if you want.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. So I am a podcast systems coach. I help people save 12 hours per week producing their podcast, which is big because people are like, how do I grow my podcast and how do I make money? And it all starts with using your time wisely. So I am a big process person, and I have built my entire process inside Airtable. And when I say my entire process, I mean like people apply to be a guest, and then that puts them in a pipeline. If they are accepted, then they get added to the show schedule. Emails are sent from Airtable. It's automatically updated to let my editor know after we've recorded. It's automatically updated after my editor sends an episode back and to send the proper information to my VA. After I record, I never see the episode again until it hits my podcast player when it's live. And all of that is in Airtable. So I'm a little scared, but I am moving away from Airtable for a few reasons. First of all, if you're an Airtable user, you'll know that they just changed their plans. And so they went from they changed the pro plan to a team plan. And something that they did that just drives me crazy is they took features away. And I don't like that. Like, I've been paying for Airtable forever. And so there's no hey, thanks for being a loyal customer. There's just oh, you don't have this anymore. So I don't like that. And then last year they rolled out a feature for the free plan where you could add one team member for free. but they didn't roll that out to people who were paying. So it kind of felt like a little bit of a slap in the face. And so I've also kind of noticed it's been slower, and I've started using Notion more because a lot of my friends are on Notion and they're like, you got to try Notion. And I'm living in Notion a lot more now. And my assistant, I don't have to pay for a full seat to give my assistant access to one section, right? And so it's a little bit cost savings, a little bit. Um, I just don't like it kind of feels like Airtable's moving up market away from solo entrepreneurs and more to like the enterprise. And so Notion feels like they're squarely still for well, a lot of people, but I don't feel like they're leaving solopreneurs behind. So all of that preamble is to say I have decided to move all of my operations to Notion. Most of them were easy because I would export the Airtable base as a CSV and import it into Notion. And that's really all I had to do, right? I let my VA know, hey, we're not going to be in Airtable anymore. We're going to be in Notion. Easy peasy. But the podcast process is a big one. So let me share my screen. I'll share the entire screen, and this looks like the right one. Okay, so you should be able to see uh, a note, right? I think you see a note here in Bear Notes. Um, this is for my members. This morning, I actually did this. I recorded a video of me preparing for this live stream. Awesome. So I recorded a video for my members preparing for this live stream. If you want to become a member, you can do it over at podcastworkflows.com/join. You'll kind of see everything I went through here to determine what I need to do to switch to Notion. So I have a bunch of views in Airtable. I have automations in both Airtable and Make, and then I have a few notes to myself. So let's get into the actual this is going to be like a working session. If questions come up, I have the second monitor here. I'll be able to see here. Emily, you can interrupt me. But I may not talk a lot. This is like a very like watch me work session. So I'll try to explain what I'm doing as I go along. But here we go, right there. Your plan has some new limits. I don't like that. I've like built my whole business on this over the last 4 years. Anywho, okay. So here's my Airtable base. You can see I'm like pretty pleased. I'm recording one more episode today, and then I'm good for the rest of the year. Pretty stoked about that. And so this move is on face value. It's pretty easy because in Notion, shout out to Renee Morozowitz. She actually converted my Airtable base to a Notion base a while back when I wanted to offer this as an email option as well. So this is the Notion version of this base. This is a freebie I offer. I know I just said a URL. Emily, I don't know how many times I'm allowed to say things that people can get, but you can get a podcastliftoff.com/freebie, and you can get an exact copy of this. With some prompts and stuff like that. So I have two different templates here, one for a solo episode with some checklists. You can actually see the prompts here. And one for an interview. I've made some slight modifications because I do have a Google Doc that I use with my guests. And so that's part of the transition is that I need to move some of this information over um, inside of my Make automations. But all of this is kind of to say, like, I have the skeleton set up already, thanks to the podcast planners I already have, and then I've created a couple of views. The other views I need to create. So this is where we'll start. Published episodes. This one's going to be pretty easy. I'm also going to say that I'm not going to start this until next year. So I'm not going to move this stuff over. I might create like a historical data section, but for now, this is gonna be clean slate starting in January. I figured this was a really good time to do it. My Airtable plan ends in December. I think they make it really unclear, but um, I'm gonna start clean. So, published episodes gonna be pretty easy. I'll go over to Notion. I will create a new view, call that published episodes. Also, can I oh, I can bigify this. Fantastic. So I'll do that, and then I'll hide the sidebar so we can maximize screen real estate. Published episodes. Make this the layout. We don't really need all the properties here. We can keep the episode has to stay, right? Topic. We don't need the record date. Sponsors will be good. We don't really need the season. We know it's aired. I like to keep the last modified, and we'll keep the type as well. And then the filter will be aired is checked. Um, this is another. So this is like another thing that I kind of had to do inside um Airtable. For some reason, I have a status of published, but then I also have aired to like hide the episodes from the upcoming episodes. And so this is all episodes too. So I guess I should make an upcoming view as well. This is one of the things I really like about Notion is you can create these really in-depth views and different kind of views, which you can also do in Airtable, but Airtable's bases are very siloed off. Like I wanted to create a podcast production dashboard that had all of my podcasts that I'm producing, and I couldn't do it in Airtable because they were technically different bases, and that just super bothered me. But you can do that in Notion, which is neat. So I want to keep all these properties. Aired is unchecked, and that's it. That's all I'm going to have for this one because that's all the criteria for upcoming. Upcoming, published, and then if I want to have these different views for solo and interview episodes, I can. Okay, so let's go back to my checklist. Upcoming, published, Kanban. The Kanban view. That's called a board view. Um, in Notion, and then we group by status, sort, manual. Yes. So we want scheduled, recorded, out for edit, artwork created. This is, can I rename this right here? No, I'm going to rename this. It's called add to WordPress. But I just want this to be schedule or scheduled. It's fine. My assistant knows what that means. Color columns. Yeah, great. I guess I need to create custom colors here. Great. So now we have the Kanban view here. I don't really use that one a lot, so I don't know how much I'm going to use it, but I want parity between the two for now. Kanban design. So okay, this one's called Design Pickle. I'll show you what this is using actual data. Here is it's called Design Pickle because I used the service Design Pickle, and they had a Zapier integration where when I checked create cover, I would send all of the row data to Design Pickle, and then they would create the episode artwork. My assistant does that now. So what I'm going to do, I don't need this view anymore. I'm going to make it easier for her. But I'm just going to make the image creation part of the SOP. And this is another kind of benefit of me doing this transition is I can also actively review my SOPs. So image creation is what I'll call this one. We can make this let's make this a list view. Let's have some fun. Except no, it's got to be a table view because I want to show some things. Open inside peak, that's fine. Done. And then we can get rid of most of these properties. Topic is actually there's episode, and then topic is actually going to be the title of the episode. So let's do that now. Great. And then properties. Yeah, we'll keep aired and status, create cover. So that's all we need for this. It's actually more than we need for this. So that's good. Okay. Recording schedule is just a calendar view. That's super easy. Calendar. Yeah, by record date. Perfect. Opens in center peak. Fantastic. So just so you can see what that looks like, let's say I'm recording this one on the 15th, and I'm recording this one on the no, not the 24th. Let's do the 17th. And then in recording schedule, I can see. So it's just a calendar view. So if I'm like recording a lot in a week, I can see that. Also syncs to my calendar, so I don't really need that. And then BTS notes for newsletter, we don't need that one. Okay, so the views are created. Let's skip the guest application process for now because I have some big questions I need to answer for that. Because right now that is a gravity form that goes to this view. Let's hide all these people. Can I collapse this? It's too late. It's already on the stream. So I have a guest application process. People would go to howibuilt.it/apply, fill out the form, and then it would get sent here, and then I would evaluate. You can do that with Notion, but the big problem is that Notion doesn't send emails in their automations yet. So Notion has a couple of automations, but the actions are pretty sparse. You can add page, edit page, send a Slack notification, and then edit properties, and that's it. So, one automation I have, right, that I would want to do for all of these is new automation for any page in the database. When aired is checked, I want to update the status to published, and I can create that. Theoretically, can I do this? When live date, nope, it's just edited. So it's like very rudimentary automations right now, which is fine. I knew that coming into this. So I'm going to have to lean on Make or Zapier more. So I have some question marks there. So I want to kind of skip that for now. Then we have the Airtable automations. Again, like these are all emails that need to be sent. So this is not stuff I can do now. Let's move to the make automations, right? Because I think that's where a lot of the magic happens. So I'm here in make already. Fantastic. If you're not familiar with make is just like, make is a similar service to Zapier. It connects one service to another to do stuff. It used to be called Integromat, so maybe you are more familiar with that name. But it's I like it. I like make.com better because it's a lot nicer to work with. It's easier to move stuff around, and it's dramatically cheaper. I don't want to make it seem like I'm cheap because I'm not. I will pay for the things I need to pay for, but it's like 90% cheaper and does 99% of what I needed to do. And so that was like a pretty big deal for me. And one of the things I really like is in this Calendly router, right? I only have, excuse me, I only have basically one automation for Calendly and then a bunch of routes to do a bunch of stuff. And so I really like that part of it. Now, I'm just moving. I'm not gonna do anything that will break stuff right now. So I'm going to create a new folder called Notion Transition. And I am going to copy this because, again, I'm going to be kind of testing this and I don't want to break the thing that my whole process relies on. So we're going to call this Calendly router to Notion. And great. Oh, okay. I need a replacement for this. Okay. Invitee created. Organization URI. User URI. Save. And now it's off. I'm going to go back here. It's going to be at the bottom because it's off. I'm going to move that into Notion transition. That way I can kind of easily find this stuff. So, much like the TVA, I'm going to have to prune some branches here because I don't necessarily want all of these things to run when I do the test. Hi from 35,000 feet. I hope you're flying. Otherwise, I hope everything's okay. Sorry, that just really caught my attention. Okay, so let's prune this branch. Actually, do I really want to prune branches if I'm going to reuse this? Probably not. I'll just have to test very carefully. Because this is like immediately as data arrives. So if anybody fills out my Calendly right now, oh well, it's off. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm not most concerned. This is the branch that I am. um, this is the branch that I am focused in on, and you can see here that I'm running a make scenario. And that's because maybe I should go over here first. That's because if I go back to my Airtable search, do I need to do that? No. My guest onboarding make scenario. That's what they're called. They're called Zaps and Zapier. They're called scenarios and make. So this runs every 3 hours because I can't. Calendly is one of the only. This is maybe like why you might want to stay on Zapier because there is a little bit more micromanagement for make because they do things a certain way that's very different from Zapier. I assume Zapier just kind of absorbs the cost of doing business into their much higher plan. And so it takes a little bit more micromanagement to get things set up and make. But like once you understand some of the things, I find it to be a little bit nicer, especially this interface. I like the way it's a lot easier to like reorder. Anyway, it's a lot easier to do things, in my opinion, after using it for about a year. But one of the drawbacks is that Zapier will execute things more frequently or immediately. Calendly is one of the only things that it will execute immediately for some reason. So I have a gravity forms here. It's watching forms. Whenever someone fills out that gravity form, this information gets sent. And I have a hidden field. I guess if you want to hack my system for getting on my show, I have a hidden field called invited. If they are invited, they go directly into where are we? Into the episodes view. They get added up here because they don't have a season associated with them yet. And so they get added up here, and then I'll get a notification. However, if they apply, that's when they get added to the guest applications field. And it's when someone books in Calendly that they get moved to the episodes table. So what I could do here, because I do have this is what I'll do. I didn't create a copy of this one, but what I'll do is I'll just tack on for Notion. I will create a database item, select from a list. Now, something I need to make sure of, this is another this is a frustrating thing about Notion, like when you don't know, you need to is it in share? You need to add basically each section to make. I don't think so. I have a team space, which is like a collection of pages and databases. I don't think I can add an entire team space to make or Zapier, either one. I can't. I have to do it on like the page level, which is like a little bit frustrating. So anyway, so I have to go here, add connection, make, so that make can see. I mean, I get it theoretically, right? You can do a lot of things in Notion. You want to have like some private areas of Notion, and so you have to explicitly tell Notion what make can see. It is a lot more secure. So I guess I won't complain about it. But I did have to make sure I did that. So how I built it. That's actually just the name of the page, so I might have to like choose the episodes table, right? Do do do. Okay, close that. Ooh, calm down. Episodes. Okay, do all this now. Okay, try that one more time. I was afraid of that because it doesn't like it. There we go. You have to tell it the database you want to work with, and I have another base called episodes. Okay, so this is I already forgot what branch I'm on. They have applied and have been accepted already. So we will grab where are you? I guess I gotta get their name from guest. Name. Google don't need any of that yet. And then title would be where are you? Topic you'd like to discuss. Okay, great. Season, status. Well, I don't have to do that yet. So this is the only thing that we really need to do right now. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Right? I think that's all I have filled out here. Topic. Oh, entry ID. That's something I don't really need. And then upload headshot, which wasn't working anyway. Okay, good. So same stuff. That's that's invited. So I've already messed this up. Um, but let's see if I can reorder this. Can I detach? No, I can't. That was neat. Oh, that was actually right though. Invited. Okay, yes. Cool. That's fine though. Because I got to do this anyway. So now I will set this to potential guests. Wonderful. Name, URL, email, Why do you think you'd make a good guest? What episode made you want to reach out? Wonderful. Notes. Oh, whoops. Nice. This like super worked out. Is there anything else in this form? Short bio. Include that there. Great. Okay. So now, um, let's test this really quick. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Few tips if you're thinking about applying to a show. Read these super important notes because I get a lot of founder stories, which I'm not interested in. And I get a lot of, hey, we can talk to agencies and enterprises. And I'm like, I don't talk to those people usually. Testing Notion. iOS 3. Upload this. Sure. Whoops. Pick a random picture. How about this one from ChatGPT? Actually, that's not ChatGPT. This is also the worst answer you can give. What episode made you want to reach out? I really like all of them. That means you didn't listen to any of them. All right, so we'll submit this. Great. And then over here, we'll run this. It should have one new one applied. And first, let's see. Should have made it over here. Fantastic. I'm like really smart and stuff. And then in Notion, well, hot dog. That worked wonderfully. Notes. I guess I could just change this to bio. Yeah, why not? Bio, testing Notion. Love it. Okay, so gonna have to think about changing the status here, but that part worked, which is super exciting. So now I can go back over here. Whoops, not that one. Cool. So that automation's updated. Great. That automation is updated. Calendly, search add to Notion, podcast guests. Okay, cool. So I got that part. And I guess invited. I don't really want to mess with that one. Well, I guess I'll test that. Yeah, I'll test that too. Fine. Okay. Yeah, you see how excited I am? Like, oh, I don't want to really test this. Actually, this is perfect. It's not perfect yet. All right. So let's go back here. This one's good. Done and dusted. Almost. Yeah, I guess that one could be done and dusted. Because the reason, let's go here. The reason that I have the make scenario run is since the Calendly automation runs as soon as data comes in, but the Gravity Forms automation only runs every 3 hours, someone fills out the Gravity Form, and let's say the Gravity Forms automation ran at 6 a.m. If someone fills out the Gravity Form for an invite at 7 a.m. and then fills out the Calendly, this part would not have run yet. And so I'm trying to prevent data duplication. Now, what I could do here, maybe this is not, an opportunity for simplification. Maybe if they were invited, I just don't add them. Like maybe I don't need this branch over here in Gravity. I probably don't. I definitely don't, because that same information is getting sent. Great. See, this is why we think through stuff, my friends. So let's see. Gravity forms. Let's not break anything yet. Um, let's not break anything yet. And actually, let's. I don't want to say YOLO this because I'm a grown man, but I think we can do this on the live one. No, probably shouldn't do this on the live one if I want to kill this part. No, we can do this on the live one. I mean, no one has been invited to how I built it, so no one should be filling out that calendar anyway. And I have a backup. I just took a backup. Okay, so let us get rid of this. Sleep, get rid of that. Let's get rid of all this. Don't need the Airtable anymore. Let's add here. Nope, not a filter. A new branch. Can we do that? Add a module. Notion. Create database item. How are we doing on time? Pretty good? Great. This is the crucialist part, is this, because this makes it so I don't have to like manage any communication with my guests and things get automatically. Everything happens automatically here. So this is the most important part of the transition. After this, I will show you some of the more whiz bang stuff that um, is just kind of like nice bells and whistles. How I built it episodes. It's actually me. Have you watched that series on? I think it's Wired. Maybe it's actually me. Okay. Let's hide the Google Doc stuff. Grab the Calendly stuff. There's also a lot of whiz bang stuff here because when people fill out the Gravity form, the Calendly form automatically gets populated, which is neat. So I'll show you that too. Okay, so episode again. Episode is the name of the person. Aired, no. Google Doc, yes, I have that now. Web view link, Google Doc. Type is an interview. Wonderful. Record date, have that. Somewhere. This says created at. This is why I shouldn't have deleted my backup. Or deleted those modules. I should have checked them first. Notion transition. Wonderful. Update record. That's what I want to do. I want to double check. Start time is a thing. Start time is a thing. Okay, great. I don't want to mess that part up. So I'm going to search items for start time. Great. Start time. Don't need the end time. I mean, that's just the date. We don't need the time. Live date undetermined, season undetermined, status scheduled, title is the topic that you'd like to discuss. No? Is that not one of the fields? Whew. I mean, it definitely is because I passed it to the Google Doc. Answers. Oh, right. That's very frustrating. Something very frustrating about Calendly is they don't really do a great job of I'm not even sending the top. That's impossible. I can't. Oh, you know why? Because I'm sending the topic from the other automation that I'm probably gonna get rid of. So copy this because that's right, right? Questions and answers. Where are you? Questions and answers. Oh, right there. That's position 1. Okay. So let's do that. This is super interesting. Why isn't it showing up here? Might have a hitch in the giddy up. That's probably just showing me that one. Let's try it. That's what testing's for. Okay, so now a couple of really good things should actually come out of this. Because if I just send somebody directly to the Calendly link, um, they'll miss like a whole big thing, and that's problematic. So let's try this from the apply page, which would be I'm sorry, the invited page. Okay, so I'm gonna pick a different name. Let's just pick a random one that doesn't have any meaning to anybody right now. Casabona.org. Topic you'd like to discuss. This should be the title. Bio. Upload a headshot. Different one. Website. Okay, so now because I'm invited, I'm going to click submit. It should take me to Calendly with a pre-populated form, which is really fun. So I'm just going to pick a random time here. Yeah, that's cool. Discussion topic. I understand that the interview will be edited, and I promise to wear a decent mic and headphones. Schedule event. Okay. Calendly router. Let's see if this right. Oh, I forgot to change it like a dum dum. Oh no. Yeah, I forgot. Well, I forgot to save this like a dum dum. Is what actually happened here. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to do this again. That's okay. I'm gonna get rid of the Todoist connection because I'm not using Todoist anymore, which is why the email is here too. Summary for guest. What's missing? What's happening now? Module. Oh, right. Okay, so that's fine. Grab the name from Calendly. Summary for name. Splendid. Okay, scenario is saved. If I run this, is it going to grab anything? Nope, it's just watching the events. Okay, I'm going to have to do that again. It's my bad. Let's go back. Probably change the name. Changing the name because there's like a search in one of my automations for it. It'll mess everything up. This is actually good. I don't feel like meeting with anybody the day before Thanksgiving, so I'm just going to fill my calendar that way. Okay. Oh, hey, that one did work. Well, hot dog. Cool, 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 cool. No doubt, no doubt. Oh, I wonder if that. Oh, yeah, here we go. Things are happening. Jason Kelsey. This should be the title, really. Wonderful. With the Google Doc included. That's fantastic. So that worked. Huzzah. So now what I will do, go back over here. This is running. Great. Is we'll go to all my scenarios. Go to the gravity forms one. And prune this branch. The invited branch. So now, can I get... So now that filter still applies, right? Because I only want to do it if they've been invited. Splendid. So exciting. A much more simplified and streamlined process there. Okay, so before we go, let's where are we? Guest onboarding, Calendly router. So now there's a couple more automations here that you see I wrote down. So let's search Airtable. And okay, update edited episode status in Airtable. My whole process, I just realized, is going to fall apart here. Because what's happening is I am watching Dropbox for new folders in the edited, in the production, right? Let's go back one, actually. So here, when I drop a folder in the needs editing folder in Dropbox, I look at the instructions file, which has a very specific format. And if Finder wants to cooperate, I can show you that. Great. So I'll go to Dropbox, how I built it, needs editing. You can see for each of these episodes, they are named. Maybe you can't see this. Maybe this is very hard to see. But oh, I don't like that. Why? Uh, I'm gonna check this out in a second. But it's episode number dash instructions is what it's called. So I am grabbing the number and then doing an Airtable search to match this episode number, which I have now usurped for the episode title or guest name, right? So I'm going to call this guest name, and I'm going to add a new field. New property is what I want. And then it's good. I don't know if I can do an auto incrementing number. No, this is not what I want. So my process is going to break a little bit here. I don't what note did I make to myself? Don't need update Airtable when episode is scheduled. Yeah, so I don't need that. It wasn't even working anyway. Basically, I was having make watch WordPress, and when a new episode was scheduled, update Airtable to say it's scheduled. Because of the collaborator limitation, my VA couldn't do that. But now she'll have complete, like, full access to this, so she'll be able to just update the status herself without the need for an automation. Invited. That also worked. Okay, so let's uncheck this one though, because that's gonna be slightly different. Um so this was one of my frustrations with Notion. And I know we're coming up on time, so I'm gonna leave it here at the thrilling conclusion. I'm probably gonna finish doing this for my members. But here's the big problem that I need to think through right now. Um, I need to add an auto incrementing field to Notion that I can customize, that has the episode number in it, so that I can do the search to automatically update these statuses. This is, I'm not gonna say trivial, but it's not super important. The important part of that process is to email my editor, which is included in that same automation. So it's a matter of record for me. Like, I want to know, looking at it, if an episode is out for edit, which is why I have that automation. But that's the next thing that I need to figure out. And so that is, I think that's as far as I'm gonna get today. Um, what is this? Is what I oh right. It's from my Calendly events. Why are these queued up? Because they don't know what to do now, probably. Okay. So this is off. Anyway, that's as far as I'm gonna get today. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, things I'm thinking about, what you should maybe consider if you're gonna do this transition either from Airtable to Notion or vice versa, because now I know both of them really well. I think if I was maybe starting from scratch, I would do things a little bit differently, like in Notion, but I really want I want to swap Airtable out for Notion as easily as I can. The the other, I think, crucial piece for me is sending the email, which I'm not going to be able to do inside Notion. So those automations that are kind of like the status based automations will also now just have an email. So that's kind of that's going to kind of be the push and pull here. Maybe Notion will add the ability to send emails in the future, but Make can handle that, or Zapier can handle that pretty well.
Thank you, Joe. That was really fun to watch. I have a question. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, in the comments, wherever you're watching, and we'll see those. What is so far, and I know you haven't, officially gone live with this transition yet, but what has been on both sides, the biggest benefit you've seen from going to Notion, and what do you miss from Airtable?
Yeah, so I think the biggest benefit for Notion is really the ability to add collaborators without it like ballooning my cost. Because again, like I'm not sharing my entire Airtable base with my team, right? If I had like a team of 4 people and they had to access everything I had to access in Airtable, I would pay for it, right? But it's really like I have 2 or 3 bases in Airtable that I want my VA to access. And so the fact that I could add her to those 3 in Notion without ballooning my costs is great. And just the fact that Notion is a lot more versatile. Like Airtable doesn't support rich text. It doesn't support rich text well, at least. And so I find myself being in Notion more just because I can log more stuff in Notion. From all aspects of my life. Like I created a family Notion base that I invited my wife to, and I have all the school information in there. I have like my fight with the bus company from earlier this year, and I have like all the manuals for our appliances. That's not something I could easily. I could do it in Airtable. I can, but it's not as friendly to my wife as it would be to me. Um, the thing I miss the most about Airtable is they really are like a database, and so, like, some of the cool things that you can they are a database. So some of the cool things that you can do in Airtable is the easily auto incrementing field, right? That's one. Something I love is if you highlight 2 or more dates across rows and then drag down, Airtable will figure out the rest of the dates for you, which is cool. You can't as far as I can tell, you need a formula to do that in Notion. And so it's the little touches in Airtable that I like that I've learned, but overall I'm having a much more pleasant experience with Notion, which is what kind of led me to jump ship essentially.
Awesome. Yeah, that's helpful. Is there anyone that you would say um, Airtable is better for or Notion is better for? Let's say you're a one person agency, because I know we have a lot of people using Airtable. If you're a one person agency, right? Maybe working with contractors, but like you said, you don't need to share everything with them. You want to bring them in on individual projects or something like that. I'm not sure. Is that a good use case for Airtable, or would you say Notion is better for that sort of thing?
I think I think Notion probably is just because more people use Notion, and again you can kind of grant that bespoke access, right? One of the other things that like really bothered me about Airtable was I added my video editor to one of my bases. I thought I was adding him as a viewer, and I added him as an editor, and so he added his assistant, and so I just like tripled my cost.
Hmm.
But Airtable didn't tell me that. They were just like, "Cool." So, like that was, so like you got to be a little bit more careful with that. Whereas with Notion, you can add guests to specific bases and kind of not worry about tripling your costs.
Yeah.
And and the other thing is like more people use Notion, right? I know like we've got some friends in the community. Karanda like is a Airtable master. And
Hmm.
like the way she uses it is fantastic. And like the way I was using it was really good too. I think you need to when it when it comes to having a team, I personally have not had a good experience with team stuff in Airtable.
An Airtable. Okay.
The only caveat to that is that Airtable can send emails based on actions. I know Notion sends emails because I get them. I don't know what the trigger for those emails is though. Like I would love my VA's tasks are now in Notion, and I like when I move it to assigned, I have a little automation in Notion to then assign it to her. I would love if she got an email when I assigned her that task. I
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't know for sure if she does. So like
Hmm.
TBD, I
That
guess.
is, and that is kind of another thing when working in these tools like Notion, understanding how the other users are working in them also, because there are so many ways to view and interact with it that sometimes you find you're miscommunicating because you're just looking at two different screens essentially of the same
Right.
information. So that, yeah, that is something that I've seen that with Notion and with ClickUp. We use ClickUp, which is similar, kind of build your own sort of adventure and
Hmm.
super powerful, all of that sort of thing. So yeah, I think knowing how someone's using it, what notifications they have turned on, right?
Yeah.
All of that
So
sort of stuff is
so
definitely
like one
important.
thing I did to test, right, is I did the assignment and then I made a comment and I said like, "Hey Anna, like if you see this, just like let me know. Like comment underneath and let me know you saw it." And then she didn't see it. And so like then I was like, "Okay, let's
Mm,
do a couple of things." I set up a make automation to automatically email her like when I assign her a task. But then I also have her tasks go to Slack since Slack is
mm-hmm.
the only automated communication channel in Notion right now. That feels like a very like one enterprise was like, we use Slack a lot, so we need this.
Right. Yeah, that
Um,
is strange, huh?
or like, I mean, or maybe Notion, like Slack integration is easy, right? Like email to do it right. There's
Trickier.
a dance you got to do, right? You've got to like authenticate your email, or they need to set up an email server that's not going to get flagged as spam. So like I get it. It's just it felt a little bit strange.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good feature to have too.
Yeah.
Well, we are at time. Joe, thank you so much. Everyone wishes you the best of luck in your transition
Thank
to
you.
Notion.
I'll be mostly building in public, for my mailing list and over on Medium, so
Awesome.
if
And
you
can
wanna
people join
check
your
in.
mailing list over on the podcastliftoff.com/freebies
Yeah, so
URL? Okay,
yes, so you'll get the databases in Airtable or Notion, whichever you prefer, and then you'll automatically get added to my mailing list.
fantastic. So that link is shared. Go check it out, podcastliftoff.com/freebie. We'll be back probably next month. December is a tricky month, but we'll stay tuned and click or watch your email, and we'll update you and let you know what we're planning for December. If we'll be back live with Joe then, and if not, it will be soon enough, and we'll get our next topics planned and all of that. So thank you so much for coming and sharing this with us today, Joe. And thank you to everyone who watched. And if you're watching this as a recording, feel free to put your comments, questions in there, and we can get to those next time we have Joe live with us. So thank you, Joe. Have a great day.
My pleasure. Thanks, Emily. You too. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.